You remember the PS2, right? Unlike the PS3, it has more than no games. At least 5 if this video is correct. And the games in this video aren't in any order, except the last one is the best. The year is 2002, and without a computer or the internet, my brother and I spent an entire summer renting a local computer from the library. Why did we do this? Not to look at corn or anything, but to obtain walkthroughs and cheats for a game called Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. And to play RuneScape, but that's not on the PS2. Or is it? This co-op enabled top-down isometric hack and slash completely consumed us for more than just that summer. And can you blame us? We were children in a dark fantasy world, hacking skeletons and rats in half. The monkeys were pouncing, the boobies were bouncing, and you can jump. That's pretty neat. And who can forget a charming and spooky atmosphere? Animations? Ever heard of them? And the voice of Winnie the Pooh. You can also spawn a new character in a game you already started. That's pretty neat. It's very cliche at this point to say, but despite its shortcomings, this game will always hold a special place in my heart. And you can move the fire in the loading screen with the right stick, so that's we like that part. Killswitch, not engaged, do not engage, is more than a competent shooter in a time of competent shooters, but what makes this game interesting is its truly inspiring cover mechanics. Named the offensive cover system because in 2002 you were allowed to be offensive, this system is not at all the first, but it did revolutionize the concept. And more importantly, its lead designer was employed at Epic Games back when they made games as a games rather than games as a service, where Gears of War's refined cover system would inspire the concept to really take cover. I mean, take off. Killswitch is very rough around the edges, but its foundations are strong, particularly in its aim-down sights mechanics, which are just banging. It also has that early 2000s dive thing. You know what I'm talking about. Do people know what I'm talking about? Rogue Trooper is a personal favorite of mine based on the 2000 AD comics, which I haven't read. I don't read. You play as Rogue, a genetically engineered soldier whose squad lives in his gun, helmet, and backpack. Conveniently, these fallen squad mates are named Bagman, Helm, and Gunner. Little self-fulfilling prophecy here, boys. What really sets this game apart is how good Rogue feels, how responsive enemies are to damage, and the fact that you can shoot their oxygen tanks, which explode. With a robust cover system, I knew that would come back up. Limited stealth options and some phenomenal animations, including this awkward Family Guy animation for a kill move. Rogue Trooper is one heckin' fuck of a shooter.
The Nords have gotten a wake-up call.
Having already discussed Legend, it's no surprise that I quite enjoyed this title with its over-the-top action and sexy, I mean sassy protagonist, Lara Croft. Although it did surprise me to find out that you can do this wicked flex of a clamber in-game on top of this sick nasty 10 out of 10 gymnastic move. Platforming, puzzling, and more importantly, platform puzzling are where the game really shines. Combat is pretty neat, although lacks depth and sometimes balance. But jumping off dudes in slow motion is always gonna be a good time. Legend performs decently, though drops frames pretty hard. I know this was the PS2 and this was basically the standard, but as far as games in this video, it's actually one of the worst performers. Within its more than 20 titles, Legend is considered fairly mid, but by a website that thinks art should be measured by numbers, so you know. It has some uncomfortable camera angles underwater and QuickTime events with infamous death scenes. Tomb Raider Legend is just that. Absolutely. Very good. Set in the totally normal end of humanity dark fantasy world, Dron, the Ancient's Gate, is in my top 5 of all time. It features a very strange and often unintuitive control scheme that makes just about any combat situation feel stressful and exciting. And this extends to barrel fighting too. Quite a challenge. Rin controls like RE4's Leon, but has button combos like a fighting game. It's difficult to explain why this is such a good thing until you conquer a particularly difficult or imposing enemy like a dancer rather than a warrior. The player will either flounder or flourish based on their technical understanding, positioning, and weapon of choice rather than their lizard brain. It's also punishingly difficult, although you could just spam magic, which was balanced by making you do a Dance Dance Revolution number to summon your powers. Or I suppose you could do archery. I don't think you should. Dron, the Ancient's Gates, is truly the gem of gems. Well, that's it for our list today. Did you have any games you'd like to aggressively suggest to me? Go ahead in the place. Some of you may have noticed I didn't play a lot of each of these games. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.